GM Beanstalk. It's now officially Mayflower Month, and as the upgrades get closer, discussions around Beanstalk's future are still lively and ongoing. Guy began Thursday's DAO meeting with a review on timeline for Silo v3 and the Bean ETHwell.
Hoping to propose the Silo v3 BIP that was shared earlier this week, call it first half of next week, sometime like that, pending UI work. And last word from Halborn on the Bayesian integration audit is that it'll wrap up on the 17th of next month. So as soon as the Silo v3 UI is done, it'll be full steam ahead on the UI work for that BIP, such that it doesn't push back any timeline. Also, would just shout out that to check out the Temp check proposal that we shared under the Town Square in Discord. There's been a lot of good discussion about how many seeds to reward on the Bean ETHwell, which is worthwhile discussion.
Guy also informed the DAO that he will not be taking payment from Beanstalk Farms or regularly attending DAO meetings moving forward.
If folks have questions and they want to drop them in the Barnyard chat, and there's a handful, and it seems like I'm the person best equipped to answer those questions, I'm happy to join, but just don't plan on committing to joining these at a particular cadence.
Guy and Rex then discussed the temp check around seed allocation.
Increasing the seeds per BDV for beans, potentially as well as LP tokens, would be one way to shift where the pie is allocated, if you will, because all that matters at the end of the day is the stock ownership, not so much the number of stock.
The discussion is still ongoing, and DAO members are encouraged to contribute. The DAO discussed options for whitelisting additional assets for the silo, and how the limitations around available oracles should be considered.
It will be very straightforward to whitelist, new wells in the silo after Bayesian is deployed. From my perspective, don't think that means that the discussion around which assets are appropriate with regards to liquidity, censorship resistance, et cetera, should have any less gravity. So this is all to say that I don't think it's necessarily appropriate to get trigger happy, if you will, but at least from a development perspective, it is much more straightforward now. Outside of just considering what asset to whitelist, there is, of course, research that would need to be done in how the well derives the price of the asset that's trading against the beans, i.e. the oracle. Just in my experience over the last few weeks, there's not too many great options on Ethereum.
The second half of the meeting centered on a discussion around Beanstalk Farms' plan to move towards immutable contracts, with many DAO members contributing to the debate.
If there's no sort of flexibility or ability to make changes at the contract level, I think it just makes the BD work way more difficult, because we don't necessarily know what those upgrades will be, and it will limit the BD side if we can't make changes to the contract side.
I feel like the conversations around how do we improve things have stopped. And they've stopped months ago when Publius decided to stop attending these calls and being involved. Because a lot of those improvements were stemmed from these discussions that we used to have that were amazing, where Publius was involved in discussing various economic topics with DAO members. And what spawned out of those conversations were roadmap items that we've been working on.
Where the conversation is leading is the idea of making Beanstalk immutable and solidified, and then having other parties come in that are more centralized themselves and build on top. I feel like that is a goal that Beanstalk has established and is working towards, and then saying, okay, external parties come in and bring that utility with the work that you're doing in a more centralized fashion.
There's a certain matchup in the questions on the sort of public non-presence of the Publii, and the decision as well to push for the protocol to move towards immutability. Both of those situations seem to be betting on the solution of immutability and contributions by every individual DAO member to move the project forward. But if we could get Beanstalk into a different place before making it immutable, then that might be a winning strategy.
Finally, as Beanstalk Farms ceases hosting regular DAO calls, this will be the last weekly roundup for at least the foreseeable future. We'll still see you around the Discord as we all wait for our Mayflower ship to come in. On behalf of Rex, Bella Beantalk, and myself, thank you to everyone listening to this. It's been a real pleasure to do. I'm Beanthoven, signing off.